August 17th, 2016. Dad was admitted into hospice care and has switched his primary doctor to the hospice doctor so that he doesn't have to wait days or weeks for the help he needs. His current physician, Dr. Velez, just can't seem to be bothered anymore. After 4 hours of meeting with first Ruthann L, RN for Continucare, and then Jennifer H, RN from St. Joseph's North, and then Felix from Hospice, and recording all of the sessions so that none of us forgets what was said during this emotional time, this is my best recollection of events. 8/6 of 2016. Dad's defibrillator went off 7 times in quick succession, causing excruciating pain and causing him to have a hard time breathing in the aftermath. A defibrillator fires when it detects the heart is in lethal rhythm. Dad was getting ready to go on vacation and wasn't working at the time. He was in enough pain and distress to ask Mom to take him to the hospital, so she drove him to St. Joe's North, where he stayed until the 9th. While there, he was given Lasix to help drain the excess water that was building up around his heart and lungs due to the decreased efficiency of his heart. With that, and oxygen, he was feeling good enough to go home. He was instructed upon release to set an appointment with his primary care physician. Mom had a wrong number for them and tried for days to reach them without success. Meanwhile, Dad's condition worsened instead of getting better as they had hoped, so that he could brace himself for another doctor visit. While in the hospital, Dr. Wong, a kidney expert, came in and took him off the Lasix as his kidneys were in stage 3. Mom said Dr. Wong said they had over-medicated him and that his kidneys would outlast him. That doesn't seem to be the case, though, based on the next few days. 8/19 of 2016. Dad returned home. He wouldn't eat at the hospital, more than a bite or two, and complains that everything tastes like it was drenched in sugar and syrup. He didn't eat any better at home, even when offered the same foods he always eats. He's lost 20 pounds since his admission to the hospital. On August 10th, 2016, nurse Jennifer H came and did blood work. And then I give all of the blood work details. August 16th, 2016. Dad tells Mom he can't breathe, and she calls 911, who send the paramedics. He feels like he can't catch his breath and wants oxygen but can't get it. They tell him they can't give him oxygen unless he gets in the ambulance and goes to the hospital. He decides he'd rather not breathe than go through all that hassle again for nothing, so he declines. They tell him to sleep sitting up so the fluids don't build back up around his heart and lungs. Later, Jamie and Justin come to talk with Mom and Dad, and Justin has his dad on the line too. He's a longtime physician and has dealt with kidney issues himself. August 17th, 2016, 9:30 a.m., Ruthann L, RN for Continucare, comes out and assesses Dad. She says the system won't let her ask for a prescription for oxygen unless his oxygenation is 80 or less. He's at 97. She walks him around and his legs give out before the 6-minute test is up, and it only drops to 95. Ruthann suggests an alternative would be to have a pulse oximeter prescribed and left on overnight to see if it will drop below 80. But it could be a couple of days before she can get one out here. They can't use ours. It has to be their machine and their tech. Mom really takes the reins at that point and said, "I've asked you and Hospice to come out today because he needs oxygen and a bed. If you can't do it, then I'm going to see if Hospice can." Ruthann says that Hospice doesn't have to meet all of the same standards that they do and can get him both faster than she can. She calls Hospice herself and gives them the referral necessary to get them to come today, with the intent of admission rather than just their normal preliminary type house call. Ruthann is told that Dad's not taken any of his meds since leaving the hospital but isn't concerned. She does prescribe a med for thrush that may keep his mouth from feeling irritated, although he's not complaining about it. She likes and writes down all of the vitamins and notes that several of them are naturally occurring herbs that address some of the same issues he's had medicine prescribed for. Apparently the meds he's supposed to take are 1 aspirin a day, which he does take, then 2 blood pressure medications, but only if his blood pressure is high, which it hasn't been, and it's checked several times a day. He's supposed to take Lipitor for cholesterol, but refuses to take it. Being that that's the least of his worries, no one seems to care. He has the Lasix, or maybe it was a different drug, but Dr. Wong told him not to take it anymore. He refuses to believe he has diabetes and won't take that medicine either. Apparently, he isn't taking his vitamins either because he isn't eating. I know they can make me sick on an empty stomach, but he hasn't complained about nausea. He's bloated with gas, so Ruthann suggests something commonly used for babies over the counter, and Katie goes to buy that and a pulse ox for Mom to use on him. I ask if she can do a blood test to see what his levels are now, so we know what he really needs to take or not, and she says it will be 2 days before anyone can come and draw blood. Ruthann asks Dad if he wants to consent in writing to a do not resuscitate order, and he does. She gives us the big yellow note that Katie posts on the refrigerator. I'm wondering how Mom will be able to deal with seeing that every day. Noon, Jennifer H. comes for her weekly visit. She and Ruthann know and like each other and chat about his condition. Jennifer notes that his kidney values are worse now than when he was in the hospital and is saying that they are at stage 4, typically transplant time. She goes through all of the same assessments that Ruthann just did, but adds to her routine a home-use blood test for blood sugar levels that Katie and Mom bought. She hears he's not taking any of his meds and doesn't seem worried. She's happy that hospice is coming because she says they can give more intensive care than she can and can get him the oxygen and the bed he needs. 1 p.m., Felix from hospice comes in, reviews all of the same records, and says Dad is clearly a candidate for hospice based on his congestive heart failure. He notes that the kidneys are pretty bad, but says it's the heart issue that threatens him more than anything. He tells us he can have the oxygen and bed there in 6 hours or less. Mom has to teach class at church tonight, so she asks if I can stay in case it isn't here by the time she has to leave. Of course I can. Felix hears about all of the meds he's not taking, and he's not worried about it either. I ask Felix if he can do a blood test to see what his levels are now so that we know what he really needs to take or not. And he says the hospice nurse will come tomorrow and put together a plan. He doesn't know if blood tests will be part of that, though. Felix says hospice knows that congestive heart failure patients are constantly in and out of the hospital, so they have implemented a new program to try and intervene before things get so bad that 911 has to be called. They will call Mom every day and ask her to go through a 6-point checklist of things like chest pain, difficulty breathing, confusion, and not sleeping well. Those are ranked like a stoplight, red to green, with chest pain at the top. Mom looks at the list and says, I'm going to be telling them he's at red every day then because he has all of these every day. They will also have her weigh him every day, and if they see sudden weight gain, they will check him immediately and offer Lasix to decrease the pressure on his heart and lungs. That has been pretty effective in slowing down the number of trips to the hospitals, so it sounds like a good plan to me. Felix says Dad may get better and out of hospice care, but I don't know if he means it or if that's just the never lose hope speech. When he hears about the defibrillator going off 7 times, he says we can order a magnet to be used to deactivate it, but quickly says not yet, but for us to know that when we can do that if things worsen. Mom says the doctor at St. Joe's North did some kind of resetting, but she doesn't know exactly what. I should ask her which doctor did that. Felix says hospice nurse will bring a kit with Lasix, morphine, and other things Dad might need to stay comfortable. Mom says Dad's at the point that he wants the defibrillator turned off now because he's so afraid of it going berserk again. She said she's never heard him scream in pain like he did during all of that. Mom said he was restless last night, every half hour asking what time it was. He went to sleep around 3 a.m. and woke up at 5 a.m. Mom looked great for someone who had also gotten that little sleep. For now, he's sleeping peacefully, and his breathing isn't as labored as yesterday. If you enjoyed these video blogs of my diary, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.